Welcome to the So You're Ready to Date podcast. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Angie. And here's where we talk about all things dating, love, and relationships, and most importantly, having fun.
Join us for practical advice for dating successfully on your terms.
Welcome aboard
and enjoy the ride.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to week 1 of season 6. Can you believe it? We are starting season 6 of So You're Ready to Date. And we are going to kick this season off with a bang with a really great topic. Love to talk about how we bring things into our lives and how we are co-creating our own lives and what it looks like to manifest the love life and relationship life of our dreams. So today we're going to dive right into the deep end and really focus on what that looks like and how we can bring that from what's in our head and what our ideas are and what our dreams are to the reality that we are living in physically as well as just mentally.
Well, I think we started this process last season when we talked about masculine and feminine energy, and now we're just continuing to dive headlong into all of the, I'm sure plenty of people still think of it as woo-woo, but things that have had real effects on both of our lives. And I think something that we are both very equally passionate about, and trying to demystify and give you some practical and real world applications for stuff that I'm sure you've heard all over your social media feed, but really trying to dial it in because we're talking about relationships and because we're talking about dating. We want to make sure that we can give you stuff that you can right now use in your day-to-day life to hopefully get you closer to that life that you really want.
Right, because it is all about living a life that you would love and having a love life that you love and having those relationships that you are desiring and thinking about that right now. Are you where you want to be? And do you have this idea in your head? And how do you get that idea in your head and that dream that you have into your reality? So really, let's start with talking about what is manifestation and how, and diving into a little bit of the mechanics of how it works. We won't go deep into quantum physics and things that are way out there, but really starting with just the basics of manifestation and some of that woo-woo terminology that's really out there, because there really is an art and a science to it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go look up like Dr. Joe Dispenza, I know he's really big in that. There's plenty of books out here, but this is like, again, cliff notes so that you have a good idea, grasp of the subject, and then we can move on to let's use this, right?
And we've talked about it a lot. And the art part is really having a clear and defined picture and knowing what it is that you want, whether that be your dream job, whether that be your dream house, your dream vacation, your dream life, your dream relationship, your dream spouse, whatever that looks like. So we've talked past episodes, past seasons. Do you have a checklist of what you're looking for in a partner, in a relationship? Do you have your yes and no's? When you're in relationships that have failed, every relationship that has shown you what you don't want is taking you closer to what you do want, because you have to know what you don't want before you really know what you do want. So it's helping you develop that picture of what you don't want. So have you sat down and written out or developed that very clear, vivid picture of what it is that you do want? And that's where the art of manifestation comes in, and where the creative process comes in, and where it gets to be really fun is you get to design what it is that you want for yourself.
Well, and I think that is also a place where it's very likely that the blocks come up, where it's very likely that, oh, but I can't have because, or you, I feel like a lot of us get into this point where like our dream muscle kind of atrophies because you get to a certain point and you're like, come on, you have to be a realistic. You're not going to be the next Taylor Swift. You're not going to be the next, Margot Robbie. You're not going to. So we had those dreams when we were a kid. And that felt really easy. But now we're in a different place in our life. So if you feel yourself stuck trying to really visualize and dream and imagine this dream life, what would be a suggestion you might give people to be like, how can I maybe unstick this particular thing to really let myself be able to dream the dream I want to dream?
The advice that I would give is we'll worry about the what ifs, we'll worry about those roadblocks later. They're still there, they're not going anywhere, and it's okay. You don't even have to think that it's possible. It's just, if life were perfect, what if? What if life were perfect? And put on the what if hat and let yourself go, oh, what if I had $1 million? What would I do? You put that on. What if I won the lottery? We can all imagine, what if I won the lottery? Well, what if you had the perfect partner? What if you had somebody that let you fly around the world on their private jet? Or what if you had somebody that funded your entrepreneurial dreams? Or what if you had somebody who came home and poured you a glass of wine every night and rubbed your feet? Or what if you had, whatever that thing is for you, what if you had that in a partner? And what would your what if be? So suspending all doubt and just putting that aside and thinking about what is your what if and putting together that vision without worrying about what those roadblocks are. We're not putting those roadblocks away. We're not saying that they don't exist. We're not living in la la land saying that there are no roadblocks. We're just saying, what would life look like if there weren't any?
I think that's a really wonderful way to be able to like fill in the blank. And I think sometimes you need that prompt to be like, I don't know where to start. So the easiest first step, right, is to be like, what if? And then to like that, suspend disbelief, because that kind of gets you into that space of, I don't have to necessarily believe that, I'm going to run into this person in line at the Starbucks. Completely possible. But what if it was just like this romance book that I've been like devouring? What if it felt like I feel when I read about that particular character? I think that's a wonderful way to open up, to be like, okay, it can be a little bit crazy because I'm not showing this to anybody, right?
Exactly. You don't have to show it to anybody, but it also, how does it feel after you write that down? Does it feel good? Does it feel exciting? Does it feel like something you want for yourself? Does it make you feel alive? That's a good sign that you're on the right track.
Yes, I think so. Because I think sometimes it's easy to be in this space of, well, so and so told me, whether you have a person in your brain that just popped up. My mom always said, or my grandma always said, or I think it's really easy to like let people in our life influence what we think we're supposed to want. But to be in this space of, when you get to know yourself, what do I really want? And diving into being like, okay, I want more of this in my life. I want somebody who wants to go hiking or play pickleball or play Dungeons and Dragons, whatever it might be. And being like, oh, yeah, I like that. How does this feel? I want more of this. How do I get more of this?
You were just talking and it reminded me, there is a Meghan Trainor song out there called Mr. Almost. Have you ever heard that song?
I don't think so.
So it's really funny. She is describing this guy who is, for all public appearances, perfect. He's got all his stuff together. He is the right guy. And he is Mr. Almost, because although he's perfect, he's not perfect for her. And that's just what it is, right? It can be almost there, but if he doesn't feel right for you, or that person isn't the right person for you to be your partner because he is missing that spark, or he's missing that element, or he doesn't have that what if factor. What if I met this person? Then that wouldn't be the right person for you. But again, we're just suspending disbelief and starting that process, because there is that art and that science to it. And we lose the art portion because as we are growing up, we are taught that we need to live in reality and that we need to stop using our imagination. And we are taught that we can only use our imagination for bad things, but we all use our imagination all the time. But our thoughts cause our feelings cause our actions, and our actions cause our results. And as an example, if I say, if you think about the thought that you have lost your wallet, thinking about losing your wallet, how does that make you feel? Just off the top of your head, if you lost your wallet, anxious, worried, scared, panicked, first thing you want to do is pick up the phone and cancel all your bank cards, whatever that may be, right? You develop a feeling, and it's going to cause actions, and actions are going to cause results. Now, on the flip side, if I say, oh, you left your wallet in the car, how does that make you feel? Right? Then you have a completely different set of feelings, which cause a completely different set of actions, which is going to cause a completely different set of results. And that is where our thoughts are coming in. So when we're suspending that disbelief and we are creating that story that we're telling ourselves, we're thinking about how that makes us feel. If I ask you and you think about the thought of having a date, a hot date, first date, hot date with a hot guy that you think is perfect, that you met when you were standing in that Starbucks line, and he's tall, dark, and handsome, and is all the things on your list, from everything that you've met about him checks boxes on your list that you have, and you get all excited and you have butterflies in your stomach and you're going to get all dressed up and you're going to go do all of the things. You're having thoughts causing feelings, causing actions, causing results. So we want to have thoughts that are causing feelings that make us feel good, that are going to cause us to take actions that are going to lead to the results that we want, which is going to be the science part of the manifestation process.
So what I hear you saying is maybe not to use my thoughts for the worst case scenario every time.
Wait, what? We could do that? I didn't know that was an option.
To not overthink? What are we talking about? I'm going to clutch my pearls here.
Oh, who knew? Who knew we could do that?
I think it's this really dismissive way to say, well, just think positive thoughts. And yes, that's part of it, but we're not discounting the fact of there is going to be you're not going to have positive vibes and positive thoughts all the time. So don't beat yourself up if you have those moments where you're not thinking the most positive what if scenario. I think, it's not black and white, right? There's not this like, if you don't do this exactly step by step, then you're never going to get anything you want ever in your life. So better be perfect or it's not going to happen. We're not saying that. We're not saying that, right?
Right. We're not saying that. But there's also some truth to change your story, change your state, change your life. And so we have to be really cognizant of the words that we're saying. How many times have you heard a friend say, well, I make all the wrong choices when it comes to choosing partners? Well, all the good ones are taken. All the good ones are gone. I can't find the right guy. All I ever date are losers. There's no good ones left. When you are telling yourself that kind of stuff, that's the story that you're creating. You're creating neural pathways in your brain, and you are thinking about, if you think about 12 inches of snow out in the yard, and you're walking to your mailbox out in your yard, and the first time that you go out there and you're trekking through those 12 inches of snow and there's no path, you're going to get snow in your boots and your socks are going to get wet, and it's going to be cold and it's going to be miserable and it's going to be yucky. And you're going to walk out to the mailbox, and then you're going to walk back. And the next time when you walk back from the mailbox, you're going to try and re-step in those same footprints, and you're gonna still get some snow in your boots, but it's gonna be a little bit less because you're gonna start to wear down the path. Now you think you've been doing that back and forth for a week. Now you've been doing it back and forth for 2 weeks. And pretty soon you've got this pathway that's dug out, that's all packed down because you've been walking it and walking it and walking it. And you've got 12 inches, 24 inches, 36 inches of snow built up on either side. That's all these other thoughts. Well, it's challenging to go put yourself out there and say, I'm going to meet the right guy today. I'm going to meet the best guy available today. I'm going to meet a new kind of guy today. That's a brand new pathway. And now you're walking through a brand new 12 inches, 24 inches, 36 inches of snow, getting snow in your boots and getting your socks all wet again, because you have to build up a new path and teach yourself a new thought and teach yourself a new story. But in the words of Tony Robbins, change your story, change your state, change your life. It's all about thoughts, feelings, actions, results.
And I think it's one of those things where it comes back to awareness. You have to be aware that, because I do this all the time, and you have been very wonderful to help me kind of catch it in the moment, so that when I'm not around, other people who have this mindset where it's been like, oh, okay, I'm telling myself this story. I'm using it's the language. I'm like, nope, I don't always make bad decisions. Nope, I'm not always lazy. It's about in that moment catching it and reframing it, being like, I have made some questionable decisions in the past, but today I'm X, Y, or Z. And sometimes it's a matter of looking at yourself in the mirror for a couple minutes a day and just repeating maybe some affirmations that give you that better sense of, I'm retraining that brain, those neural pathways that, were really easy to make, but kind of like that snow analogy. But what if the mailbox moves? Now we have to make another pathway to get to the mailbox, because the one that we've been walking up and down for 6 months, it doesn't take us to the mailbox anymore. So now we have to figure out a new way to get to that mailbox. And it's about catching yourself in the moment and be like, that's not my story anymore. That's not who I am. This is who I am. And acting as if that's what you need to do, that fake it till you make it, and telling yourself, that's not what I do anymore. I make decisions like this, and starting to, if you need to, change that pathway, because you can do it. It's going to be hard and might take a little bit of time. But if you're committed to it and this is what you really want, that's sometimes the stuff that you have to do.
I think there are some really easy ways to reframe some of the language that we use in everyday life too, to help us do some of that don't take a lot of major shifts. I think affirmations in the mirror are a really good way to have some of those larger shifts, and we can practice some of those. But the phrase "up until now" is a really small phrase that if we tack on to some of those everyday stories, for example, when we're talking about alls I date are losers, up until now, alls I've dated are losers. And what that says is about the choices I've made in the past, but it doesn't define the choices that I make going forward. Whereas when I say alls I date are losers, it defines the choices that I am making now and in the future, because it says who I am. Whereas up until now gives me a choice to change all of the choices that I am making now and in the future. And that's just a really easy thing, but it has a huge shift on the language and the way our subconscious can view some of the language. So it allows room for manifestation of something different.
Well, and we'll talk about this later in the season, but we're talking about self-sabotage at some point. And I think that's a really great way that maybe you're blocking your manifestation and self-sabotaging like all in one fell swoop is using not only this language of I only choose losers, but letting your past define how your future is going to look. It can inform, yes, but it does not have to define how your present and your future going forward is. So, like you said, up until now, I have not made choices that furthered where I wanted to be. I have not made choices that loved me. I have not made, up until now, I have not been choosing people who are a better match for me. So finding those ways to be like, okay, I acknowledge that. I see that that was a pattern and a habit, but going forward, this is a new leaf, a new me, and I'm choosing better for myself.
Absolutely. All of that is really, I like the way that you tied that into self-sabotage, which is definitely coming up in the season. And hopefully we remember to talk about that a little bit more and go back to that point, because I think that that's an important thing and a way to help us work our way back out of that self-sabotage so that we can choose differently and start to walk down a different path as we come up against that again and again.
So, and I think in the fact of like choosing differently, this is about intention, right? A lot of this whole manifestation, this whole dating is you have to have an intention. The universe has to know what it's supposed to be giving you, right? I mean, maybe you're just one of those lucky few who can just have a random sense and things come to you, but most of us have to be very clear about what our intention is in order to, I would say, recognize what is coming to us. Because I think we have this idea of, well, I think I know what it is I want, but if you don't very clearly know what it is you want, are you going to even recognize it if it walks by you?
I think there's some truth to that from the standpoint too, that if you don't have an intention, there is no deliberate action. And the universe rewards action. There should be an alignment of action and vibration and energy. And we can get into the talk about vibration because vibrational alignment is very important. You can meet the man or woman or partner of your dreams, and you can completely repel each other and not be attracted to each other at all if you are vibrating at completely different frequencies when you first meet. And I have seen that happen in relationships where you repel each other and can't stand each other, but then as your vibrational frequencies come into alignment, find out that you are actually soulmates and come together. So that can absolutely happen. So we could talk about vibrational frequencies too, but the universe rewards action and showing that you're serious. And I'm going to go back to one of my favorite authors and favorite books. And if you have not read it, the book by Jen Sincero is absolutely phenomenal, but she talks about placing your order to the universe, and you say, "Dear universe, give me spaghetti." And then you go out and you buy hamburger and ketchup and start making meatloaf. The universe gets really confused. And you change your order and the universe sends you meatloaf, and you say, wait, I want steak. And the universe says, okay, cancel the meatloaf, and starts to send you steak. And you go, wait, I want that spaghetti originally. The universe can't send you what you want if you are not clear on your intentions and are not taking actions that are in alignment with your intentions.
They're not just a short order cook, right?
I just love that analogy. I love the book. You know, how to be a badass. Go read it. It's great.
Well, I think there's something to this idea that, you know, you put this order in and then it doesn't happen as fast as you think it's going to. So you're like, oh, maybe this wasn't the right order, so I need to change it, right? So if I change it, then maybe I'm going to get the thing I want because I see something vaguely similar just over there. So I'm going to change it real quick and then I'm going to get this thing. So I think we're kind of bouncing all over the place today, but this is where kind of about trusting this process of you've given it to the universe. You've taken your action, you're putting it out there. It's going to take some time for you to get what is supposed to be coming to you.
We have been bouncing a little bit all over the place, and you're right, it does take time, but we've also talked very much in alignment with, you have to have a clear picture, and your thoughts cause your feelings, and your feelings cause your action. We're talking about taking those actions, and those actions are talking about the results, because again, the universe is going to reward those actions that you're taking, and talking about how that all comes into play together with that manifestation. And while this might feel like jumping all over the place, having the patience and holding something with an open hand also falls into exactly that order and that alignment, and kind of going down that process and that step, and holding something with an open hand and remembering that is this or something better, because you can have this idea of exactly what you want. You can create this clear picture, but what if the universe says, oh, I see what you want. you want spaghetti, but you know what? I've got this very special order, and we're going to top your spaghetti with this really fancy Parmesan cheese, and we're going to give you garlic toast, and you are going to absolutely love this. And maybe we're going to put some meatballs on the side, and it's going to be the best spaghetti you've ever had. And you didn't even know that you wanted that because you didn't think about it. And you're missing out on something better because you're holding on to something so tightly that you're forgetting to let go and let the better come to you.
Yes. I'm going to give a personal example here. I was dating somebody last summer. It was fine. It was casual. We got along really well. We had a lot of things in common. I was kind of, I think, holding on too tight because, it was something was better than nothing was kind of my mindset at the point. And then I kind of got to this space where I was like, this doesn't feel comfortable anymore. So I feel like I kind of let my hand open up a little bit. And that's when I met the person I'm with now. But I don't know that I would have seen how kind of amazing he ended up being if I had been stuck in this, well, but I already have this something and it's okay for now. And I don't know that so getting into this space of, but let me see, just let me see. Maybe it could be something better and maybe it won't. And I can go back and keep dating this other person casually, but letting yourself try. It's like sometimes it is just about trying. It could have been not a match at all, but I know very clearly I can, in hindsight, look back at our first date and we were already pretty close vibrationally. And the more that we've kind of like talked and gotten together and known each other, our vibrations like crazy matched. But I don't know that I would have been ready for somebody who matches my vibration the way that he does had I not given myself space to hold on too tightly to something that didn't work, give myself some time to be like, but I want more. This doesn't feel like what I want to feel. And then sometimes it is a slow process of, I went on a couple of other dates. They weren't really matching. And then I went out on this one date. I'm like, well, I don't see the point in dating anymore. But I had to give myself some space to be like, just try it. It won't be the end of the world if this doesn't work out. You love yourself. You're creating a life that you love with or without a partner, but just try it. What's the worst that could happen? Sometimes I have to remind myself, what's the worst that could happen? It's a bad date and I have content for the podcast. Okay. Not always, but sometimes it's like, okay, or it doesn't work out, or it works out. And I think sometimes I miss the part of what if this really does work out? I get really stuck in that. And I'm sure a lot of us do get stuck in that, but I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. But what if it doesn't? What if we stay in this space of this can only get better? And I think sometimes for a lot of us, that's a scary place to be because we don't know how to sit in that joy and that celebration and that excitement of feeling like accidentally getting the thing that you have been wanting so badly for. So, giving yourself permission to mess it up sometimes or to feel like you're not getting it right. You're getting it right in the way that you need to, in the time that you need to. So allowing yourself space to be a beginner, to practice, to fail, to try again, it'll all be fine.
So send us your what ifs. Tell us all of your wildest what ifs. Let us know what you're looking for. Put it out there because once you tell the universe what you're looking for, that gives the universe time to start cooking that up and sending it your way. So go ahead, feel free to write it down, drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. We love to hold space for you to dream big. So again, send it on over to us and come back and join us next week as we hit another great topic as we start digging into week 2 of season 6. We will see you next week.